The southeastern United States, home to the nation's oldest history. But with history come sightings of ghosts and hauntings. We have teamed up an independent filmmaker and a psychic medium to investigate the paranormal activities in the South.
My name is Harrison Setzler, and I am a psychic medium from Greenville, South Carolina. I have been working as a professional psychic since 1986, although I began seeing the other side very young. In fact, I was brought up, raised in the Cherokee tradition, and was given the Indian name Buffalo Two Skins by an Indian medicine woman who said that I walked with one leg in this world and one leg in the other world. And I've seen a lot of things in my life that were even hard for me to believe. So it's always interesting to take new people out and to watch their reaction when they see things, because everybody always says that seeing is believing, but that's not exactly true. You can see something right in front of your eyes and your mind still has a problem grasping it or putting it in context. You know, it's been really neat to meet this motley crew of guys that are interested in knowing, is there something on the other side? And what's going to be even more interesting is seeing how they react when they come face to face with it.
My name is Adam in Narvik. I'm an independent filmmaker. I'm always been interested in paranormal. I'm not quite a believer, not quite a skeptic. Interested in finding out what's out there. Very interested in exploring some of the history and some of the so-called haunted places in this area. Teamed up with a psychic medium. I've got my crew along. So this is Twisted Dixie. So keep your mind open. We're gonna see what we can find out. Boogity boogity boo.
My name's Andy Carter. I'm the transportation manager. Basically just drive the crew around and just have a good time. The ghosts, I don't know about that. That's pretty much off the wall for me. But how I ended up with this, Adam just calls me from time to time on films when he needs something done.
I'm Kevin Woods. I assist Adam when I can in his filmmaking endeavors. Called me into this project because he knew I had an open mind about things. Slightly skeptical, but you know, eager to learn and find out the truth, what really is out there.
Abbeville, South Carolina, a town founded in 1785 by the Huguenots. The Civil War actually started and ended in this very small South Carolina town. South Carolina was the first state to secede from the Union, and they made that decision right here in this town at the Burt Stark Mansion. Jefferson Davis was also captured here, ending the Civil War some years later. One of the strange things about this town is a lot of places where you go, people either believe in ghosts or don't believe. It's usually pretty much 50-50. Here, I didn't run into anyone who was a disbeliever. A gay psychic, a redneck, an Italian filmmaker, and a white rapper walk into a bar. No, this is not the worst joke you've ever heard. This is what you're watching.
When you have to put the little latches on the cabinets to keep your dishes in the cabinets, I mean, from falling out and break all over the place, you know, that's kind of a
So
kind of a
what would
weird
cause
thing.
an object to move other than paranormal activity?
Well, I was thinking maybe something to do with that part of the land, some kind of I don't know, gravity type thing, some type of magnetism.
Literally, there will come a time And we will have an invention that you can literally plug into a building or a structure and play back everything that is recorded, just like off of a tape. And when we get that technology, then there won't be any more crime, because crime scenes will be easy to decipher. But now, the only way we can plug into them is using these extra senses that we have beyond the 5 senses, the 6th sense.
Everyone seemed to know about a ghost, live in a house with a ghost, or could tell you where there was one at right now. Pretty eerie, especially when you're standing here, looking around, feeling like you stepped back in time.
Back in the 1800s, the sheriff stayed on the bottom floor, the prisoners stayed on the 2nd floor, and they did the executions on the 3rd floor.
Oh, cool.
And there was strange noises heard from members of the museum committee on the 3rd floor, so we're going to go check that out. Then we'll do the Belmont Inn, and we understand that they have several. And then we're going to do the Opera House, and we suspect there's 2 there. And then the Painted Lady, and strange things have been heard and seen in that house. And then we're going to go to Abbeville Bed and Breakfast, and they have a smell and sounds. So
Smell and sounds. Maybe just one of my friends live there.
yeah, but those were the places we were going to hit. Okay, well, I don't completely discredit it, because I've had some strange things happen in my life. That when my mother passed away, my younger son said, I went to tell him that his grandmother had passed away, and he told me that was okay. He knew she came and told him goodbye before he left. If you are one of the chosen ones that happens to see, to let us know. Because we're getting H out of D.
Our first stop would be the old jail. Man, this town is creepy.
Was built in 1854. It stayed a jail until 1948. The sheriff and his family lived on the bottom floor. They housed the prisoners on the 2nd floor, and we are told that they did the executions on the 3rd floor.
Ouch.
What's below us? What's below us? So anything man-made would not register on it. I know that he's all right with it.
Wow, that thing's going crazy.
The old jail, as it's called. Prisoners were kept on the 2nd floor, and on the 3rd floor, the executions were performed. Several witnesses have heard and seen ghosts on the 2nd and 3rd floor of this building.
What's below us? What's below us?
I don't know.
Because there's something
There is a basement, but this is not
downstairs.
open
Yeah.
hutch.
Hi, Hutch. How you doing?
Oh my God, the ghost of an old man. No, it's just an old man.
One of the energies upstairs is a black male, early 20s, very angry.
This is a very sad comment on the times. If people had lost their minds, as they used to say, they would chain them here to something so they wouldn't hurt themselves and other people until they could be shipped to the asylum in Columbia.
So, do you want to follow your feeling?
Yeah, let's go up first.
Okay,
Yeah, let's go up.
let's do it.
Man, this place is freaky deaky.
This stuff, this is medical.
We are trying to get together an old doctor's office. Some of the doctors are interested. Some of these things are horrible looking.
Yeah.
This is the 2nd floor, where prisoners were once kept. It has now since been turned into a local museum. This stuff is old, man. And creepy. Harrison's head was filled with visions of people's past. All of these items filled with so much history.
Connections with these toys. Yeah. It's a little, this little girl died very young.
We decided to go to the 3rd floor.
EMF detector. It's a specially made EMF detector that only picks up natural energies. So anything man-made would not register on it. So what we're looking for is variations.
These are actually the same rafters prisoners were hung from many, many years ago. It's pretty eerie to know several people lost their lives right here on this wood frame. These pieces of steel bolted to the floor is where prisoners who were out of control were chained during the night. Okay, will somebody please fire the f***ing music guy?
You picking up something?
But yeah, there's something. Yeah, it keeps moving. It's moving. 5 foot 6 or 7. Black male. Probably your age or slightly younger. So what, 27?
I'm 27, yeah.
Okay. Not wild about the fact that we're here. Not because of any ill intent, but you know, this is his space, and one's not really happy about us being here. So I don't want to go over here until I know that he's all right with it.
Wow, that thing's going crazy.
Now pay close attention to this blue mist you see here. We'll talk about that later.
It's in here now. See, there we are. Keeps moving. There. Okay, cold spot right here.
It's cold.
Yeah.
Can I feel?
Creepy.
It's creepy.
Yeah, right here. Smell of cigar too.
I smell it.
Cigar smell.
So let's,
Well, I can give
Wow.
Carrie a key and,
yeah, we're good. So you feel a lot of energy here.
Yeah, this is a lot of energy here. So this would definitely be a place you'd want to.
does any of this
Come
ever
back
appear
and
on
check it out.
film sometimes?
Yeah, and usually you don't see it until later.
Okay. Now, what's interesting to me is that this blue mist, now you see this? See here? Passes by it. This is when he says the ghost is over here. The next shot you're looking at is this blue mist appearing to go into this room. Okay? Now, it isn't long after that. Actually, it's a few seconds later when Harrison says it's in here now, which is the same place this blue mist you're looking at here is going, or appears to be going. I don't know if that's light. I don't know what it is. I haven't had a lot of experience catching spirits or ghosts on film, but that's pretty weird looking. You see that? I'm gonna let both of you guys come in here, and actually all of you guys come in here and take a closer look at this.
Well, the interesting thing here again is not so much the effect, but the context, which is the same thing with the camera. You know, this could be a trick of light, but what makes it so interesting is the fact that we were having a conversation about a spirit walking into the next room.
That's what, again, it's just a little too weird sometimes.
So the context is what makes it interesting. In general, in still photographs, if we saw something like this, a blue or whitish mist, we would call it ectoplasm, which is another form of spirit. Normally we get the orbs, but the other type of formation you can get on film is ectoplasm. I remember that when we were standing there, that there was a definite feeling connected with this spirit, and you could feel it almost as if it moved through you going into the other room. So, very interesting, although not conclusive, but the context is what makes it so interesting.
It's either light or Harrison farting. Either one. I don't know which. But No, seriously, I think it's the light or Harrison party.
So not.
One or the other. Not sure.
So no, not even a 1% maybe in your eyes.
No, it's just too much to go on there. Where the lights coming through the windows could have affected it. Could have been a number of things.
Now, what has to be noted there is that the camera was actually zooming in and out. And if you pay close attention, there was an open window. And most likely, that's just light. Watch how it moves as the camera moves. You know, it moves with the camera. And we had an open window there, a lot of light coming through. So yeah, I mean, what that could have been is light reflecting or refracting off of the lens.
He goes next door sometime. What's next door?
So basically, you're saying that Harrison's full of shit, and he's sitting right here.
The South has always had a reputation for the supernatural, and indeed that's where the whole concept of Southern Gothic comes from. I believe that the South is so active because it is so saturated with water. We've found in the past that paranormal activity usually occurs in and around areas in which there's water running on the ground or below the ground. In the South, you have such a warm and wet climate that I think you have just the right amount of moisture in order for these spirits to come forward. So not only do you have circumstances which lend themselves to paranormal activity, but you also have the wonderful scenery of the South, the Spanish moss hanging from the trees, the sort of general creepiness that you find in the swamp at night tends to lend itself to ghost stories and supernatural.
Our next stop was the local ice cream shop. There's also the story of a ghost named Bob, the ex-owner, who lives in the back and causes quite a disturbance at night.
I always like the little flashlight.
What is Andy here for again? Please rewind that.
I always like the little flashlight.
Now, a lot of strange things happen in the back. I wish I could show them to you, but I can't. Because as soon as our psychic, Harrison, went back and saw the ghost of Bob and began speaking with him, I pointed my camera at the ghost. My picture went completely black. Now, this is the actual footage I shot with no picture. I know it's kind of boring, but I wanted to show you that I was actually shooting footage with absolutely no picture.
Battery dead?
It's black.
No, it's on. I'm recording. Yeah.
But what made it really strange is the fact that Harrison asked the ghost to stop messing with my camera. Then he looked at me and said, "Try it now," and the picture came on.
It's like a habit or something.
Harrison also described this ghost and what it looked like. Then the new owner came back and Harrison told him his description. And from what the new owner said, he pretty much nailed it right on the head. Even the fact that Bob used to smoke cigars and still has a habit of doing so.
He was heavy set, short, heavy, set dude. Yeah, and he always had a cigar stuck in his mouth.
Maybe that's one thing. I kept seeing his hand going toward his nose.
Yeah, he was always like this. He'd always have it like that, you know, those cigars. He was cool. And
he doesn't stay just in this building. He goes next door. So
well, he's
look over things. He's constantly worried about books.
Yeah, that's what he did, and he was always that way. He was a money man. And all three of these buildings were connected.
And he described Bob, like you said, and he said he was doing this number.
Yeah, he was always
Talking about a safe in the floor? Was there an old safe in the floor?
If you don't know about it, let's
heard
take
Margaret say something about that too. There's something he had a place in the floor. She said that where he kept his liquor, and probably his money too. He had a little hidden place in the floor. She still talked about
both of those together.
And things are flickering and going on and off. That's him. Also, when you're finding things on the floor, things dropped on the floor. That's him.
We had trouble with the lights when we first kept coming by looking in the building. It was abandoned and everything. And then all of a sudden it was light in the back. And I said, darn, the guy's rented the place. And then I called the fellow that owned it, and he said no. And I had passed by a bunch of nights, and there wasn't any light. Then all of a sudden there was light. And he come down to open the building up, and he didn't even have the right key. He hadn't even been in here in 6 months.
Huh.
You know, and so that was sort of weird to have a light on and then it gone. You know, that was really interesting.
Say caused that camera disturbance. And just because you believe in ghosts doesn't mean you have to think a ghost did it. But
Exactly, yeah. Well, it's not unusual to have energies particularly affect electronic equipment because basically they are energy themselves. So it's very easy for them to manipulate. What makes this particular occasion so odd is the fact that we asked it and it performed on cue. So that's the one thing I would say that stands out more than anything about it.
Any number of variables could have caused that to happen. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean it was supernatural.
But you're saying there's no possibility? That
No, I'm not saying there's no possibility. Like I said, I'm certainly open to, you know, being convinced, but that doesn't prove anything.
I'm not saying it proves anything. I'm just saying it's kind of weird, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
We've been using this camera how long? Have we ever had a problem like
We've
that?
never had a problem like that. That's
I mean,
what's so
you
strange.
asked me that. Of all the stuff you've done with me, 2 films, all the other stuff we've done, 3, well, yeah, we won't talk about that
Yeah.
one. Have you ever seen the camera do that?
No.
Okay, don't you find it odd that I'm pointing it at what he says is a ghost standing there and it goes black? And then, not only that, but I asked him to tell it to stop. He does it and then the camera works. Would you say that's bizarre?
Yeah, but you shut the camera off. And he
I
told
shut
you
the
to
camera
try
off
again.
several times. I recorded several times and it wouldn't work. I turned the camera on and off several times. It didn't work.
Look, man.
Not until I asked.
That's not convincing enough for me. That's
Okay.
not. I'm not convinced.
I didn't ask if you were convinced. I asked you if that was bizarre.
And I said it was bizarre, and I also said that, you know, it's a possibility.
I can't say, hey, a ghost messed up my camera. But I can say the weirdest part about it is the fact that my camera goes black. Completely black. Never happened before. 3 years, never happened. And I was pointing it at what's supposed to be a ghost, and my camera goes black. And I hear all these stories about ghosts can manipulate your cameras and electronic things, and it happens the first day out. I mean, that's weird, okay? You know, 3 years I never have a problem with this camera. I hear that ghosts can manipulate electronic devices, and the first day we go out, my camera goes black. That's weird, all right? And it's not the weirdest part. The weirdest part is the fact that I asked him, Harrison, if you can speak to this ghost, if you can ask it, if it's messing with my camera, to please stop. He doesn't speak to the ghost. He does, like, you know, a hand talk. He does that, but he's not talking. He looks at me and says, try it now. And my camera works. All right? That's the first day out. All right? That's weird. You know, I'm not saying it's a ghost. I'm just saying it's weird, all right?
I think it was cheap film. That's what I think.
Terrible. What about the fact that we asked the spirit to stop messing with the camera and the camera came back on?
Well, that's where the cheap film stopped. And the good film just came right behind it and cut the camera back on, and we were in business.
What about the description he gave? Did you not find it similar to the description the guy came back and said the ex-owner looked like?
No, I think he could have described Bozo, and he would have agreed with all the
Okay, you're a skeptic not only of ghosts, but of psychic and ESP stuff, right? So basically, you're saying that Harrison's full of shit, and he's sitting right here. I mean, no offense.
There's no offense towards Harrison. I just don't believe in the psychics and the ghost.
So, okay, I mean, and this is good. I've got both of you guys in the shot here, and that's interesting. I never even thought about that before. And all jokes aside, you know, we got you guys working together and working good together. You guys get along.
I think I'm more skeptical than you are. And I think you're more of a believer than I am.
I'd buy into that.
Seriously.
I don't know. I mean, it does look kind of weird.
Be aware that sometimes energies
There is one main reason I wanted to go to Abbeville. The Abbeville Opera House. Living only 30 miles away from this town, I've heard stories about it ever since I have moved to South Carolina. Ghosts, spirits, hauntings, noises, figures. The Opera House is close to celebrating its 100th birthday. And back in the days of Negroes-only seating in the third balcony, a black man was killed. Now one seat remains for him and his ghost, which still supposedly roams the building. I've got to say, the Abbeville Opera House gives you the eeriest feeling of any place in town.
There's a man right here.
There's a man right here?
Long beard, mustache. Very heavy coat on. It looks like that sort of material that they used to make like the Civil War uniforms out of, that real thick stuff. Woolly feeling. He's standing right here. So I don't know if he's like ushering people in or something, but he's positioned right here.
Harrison said he felt lots of energy in this place, so we decided to go back and perform a seance. I'm going to be completely honest with you. There just wasn't any energy when we came back. As Harrison said, a true psychic doesn't have the need to perform. If something happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Here we are at the Abbeville Opera House, close to celebrating its 100th anniversary. Our psychic, Harrison, said this place had the most activity of any place in town. Whether I believe that or not, that's yet to be seen, but he's on his way here, and we're going to have a seance to see if we can wake up the dead. Ooh, boogity, boogity.
Hell, it comes on. I don't know how to work this damn thing.
So you guys hang out here a lot, I guess?
Yeah, I'm one of the actresses here, and I've been here since January.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm the children's director here.
Seen or heard any weird things?
Actually, during my first play, I thought I saw someone sitting up in the third balcony box up top, but then they told me, well, there's not a door up there. I said, oh, I must just saw things. And then, but I did, before I knew about anything.
Yeah. What have you seen or heard?
Well, I was on stage one night, and the same box that she saw, and this was before I ever knew that she had even seen anything up there. I saw something move up there, and I asked if it was one of the kids running around upstairs, and they said, no, that's a fake box. There's no access to it. So.
What is that? What I'm doing here is a reading of temperature. I use this Craftsman temperature device to find out where the cold spots are, which is also could possibly be a spirit, or it's really hot here. I think Andy's farting right here.
The most entertaining things that happened during the night is when Harrison asked if there were any spirits available to please register themselves on the EMF detector. And well, Kevin's cell phone went off right then.
Is there anybody here who wishes to communicate at this time? Somebody.
Also, one of the balloons that were placed around for the spirits to move somehow popped right when Kevin was in front of it filming. I think it was just some of the splinters from the stage, but damn it, it was funny.
Be aware that sometimes energies will push you. Yeah. All right.
Well, the sage is purifying the air and around her, and
Since my parents live close by, I invited them to the seance, and boy, I bet they're proud of me. I've invited them to a seance where a gay senior citizen is burning them down with sage to rid them of evil spirits before they go home. And we took many photos in the third floor of the Opera House. I must say, when I first looked at these pictures, I said, wow, that's a fuckload of orbs.
All right, now this is a picture that Harrison took at the Opera House on the third floor. He felt some energies and presence there. Now, again, I don't know a whole lot about orb, but through the research I've been doing since we've been doing this show, the big thing seems to be orbs. I got an orb, and I gotta say, this picture has a lot of orbs in it, and a lot of these small ones
You know, if it was all small ones, I might be a little, you know, more skeptical. But with this, the thing that really stands out is this big one in the balcony. It's really perfectly round. In the different pictures, it actually is moving in different positions.
What is your take on those balls of light called orbs?
Well, I think those are dust particles on the camera.
On the camera?
On the camera we took the pictures from. Just not a lot of light there. There's a lot of spots.
Look at this big one.
You know, there's a window behind that curtain.
Now I've got another picture where this same orb is actually in different positions.
Mm-hmm.
The same big one.
Yeah, but he's moving his camera around. There's probably dust on the lens.
Okay.
That's kind of my take on it.
Okay. So an orb for Cooter is a spirit energy that's moving in and out of this dimension. So literally, what you see here, these little brown balls of light, is exactly what a soul energy looks like when it's coming in or out of a place that we're in. Now, these can be caused by dust. In fact, this was a very dusty area because this is the third balcony and it's always off limits. But the interesting thing about these photos is the way that, number one, it could not be dust on the lens because the balls would be in the same place in every photo, which they aren't. In fact, they move. In fact, the large orb that we see here moves through several photographs, and all these photographs were taken back to back. So that's why I would discount that theory. What makes this one particularly unclear is the fact that it was very dusty. Now, we have taken these photos in areas where there weren't any dust, and they come out the same way. In fact, sometimes even clearer. So this would be, I would say, this photo is somewhere in the middle. It does show orbs. It is an area with a lot of activity. These orbs do seem, this particular orb does move around. It does seem to have a figure in the middle of it. But I would say in general, because of the location in the dust, it would be inconclusive.
Well, the first question I would ask was, did the camera itself have a flash on it? And if so, being an old building, was there a lot of dust flying around? Was there? Is that the
That's a
flash?
yes to both questions. Is that right, Harrison?
Mm-hmm.
So there was a flash on the camera.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, see, I've seen pictures of supposed orbs, which they've proven to be particles, dust particles flying around with just the light reflecting off of it. My big thing with this picture is, if you pay close attention to the center of the balcony there appears to, in the large orb, there appears to be some sort of figure, and there was no way to get up there. No one else was up there. It was inaccessible, from either side, and yet there still appears to be a figure inside of the orb. That's the only thing that that really.
After emailing the photos to Kevin, he was convinced that there was a black man in the balcony in the middle of the large orb. After studying the photo more closely, I too saw there was a black man in the middle of the large orb. I emailed this picture back to Kevin. Needless to say, he wasn't that impressed. These are photos that were taken at the Poinsett Bridge, which is about 50 miles away from Abbeville that we visited. This is a Civil War bridge where a man was actually hanged and is said to be haunted.
I mean, there's definitely 1, 2, 3, 4 large orbs. And this one looks just like the one at the Opera House to me. And that's what kind of was like, pretty bizarre. Now, I don't know. Again, light maybe, flash maybe, dust, too big for dust. But, that's definitely a weird photo. And I've never taken a photo like that from all the pictures I've taken. Suddenly we're at these haunted places and these orbs start showing up. I think that's weird.
I don't know. It does look kind of weird. But I'd have to know a couple of things, what time of day or night it was.
What time was it?
This was about 9 to 10 p.m.
Okay. Did you have any other light source there?
No.
Because I'm just looking at the lidded areas on the side.
That's the flash, right? That's the flash.
Okay.
And this was taken with a regular camera with film as opposed to the Abbeville Opera House, which was digital.
Well, there again, you got film, you got light, and it's night. Film does funny things.
I had taken pictures myself, and I didn't get anything. The difference was the guy that was with me went in afterwards, took a picture, but asked if there were any spirits there that wanted to show themselves. And then he got the orbs on his photo. So again, it's the context. Yes, it could be a trick of light, it could be dust, but why does it perform on command? Why does it happen within the context of saying, if there's a spirit here, please show yourself?
I thought I would try out my ESP powers and try to read Andy's mind.
And John said I did. Knock on your door.
The Belmont Inn has been around for over 100 years. The bus depot used to drop off celebrities such as Groucho Marx, who would stay here and perform at the Abbeville Opera House. Now stories of ghosts and spirits haunt the rooms of the Belmont Inn. There are other reports of strange noises, knocks at the door, but no one is there, and running through the hallways.
Mostly be in the kitchen sometime, and something just kind of scoots off the counter that's not on an edge or anything. The strangest thing that happened was when we first opened it, or right before we opened, and everybody was here cooking and cleaning and all that, and it was one of the partners at the time's turn to get up and cook breakfast for everybody. And the night auditor was here, and he said Michael had asked for a wake-up call. And he came downstairs and told John, thanks for knocking on the door, and to get him up. And John said, I didn't knock on your door. Everybody else was up until like 4 o'clock in the morning, so somebody woke him up.
So, Harrison, you picked up anything yet?
Harrison felt the presence of a cook still roaming the kitchen quarters.
It's an older black lady. She comes in every morning at 4 a.m. Likes to make breakfast. Leaves about 3 or 4 in the afternoon. She also plays with these knives. So sometimes these knives are, you put them up and they're back down here, or they move around. She's constantly cooking.
Damn, I wish you would cook me a ham biscuit. I'm starving.
Which one?
It's very hard to breathe right here.
Although Harrison picked up many things, we caught nothing on film. So rather than bore you by showing you images of nothing happening in the hotel, I thought I would try out my ESP powers and try to read Andy's mind. Wow, Harrison sure is one gay psychic. I've met a lot of gay psychics in my time, but Harrison is the gayest. Damn, I wish I had a ham biscuit right now.
What kind of show are you running?
It's a paranormal investigation show, but I thought I would, throw some different things in it to make it, a little more entertaining, I guess.
Well, you did read my mind. I was thinking that he was gay. Are you?
Yeah, see, you're more psychic than you thought, babe.
Yeah, overall, I enjoyed the experience. I'm looking forward to doing it again and visiting more towns and places. And I'm searching for the truth behind, everything that, I've always heard. Believing in science, science will sometimes, prohibit you from opening your mind up and then looking at things in a different light. And basically, the things that we saw, that we experienced in Abbeville, it's all inconclusive. But, I'm convinced there was something going on there.
Well, everything I've seen on the show basically could be explained by everyday things that happen. There's nothing out of the ordinary that happened. Abbeville's a beautiful town. Love the history. And that's basically about it. It's just just 4 people riding around with a camera and a good-looking truck. No ghost.
Okay, I'm glad that we went out. I'm glad that we caught something. I was scared that we were going to go out and for hours and hours and not see anything. And definitely, I think some stuff not going to turn any skeptics into believers, but I think some stuff that was definitely strange enough happened to make me continue to want to continue to do this project.
The first episode totally has me convinced that I'm surrounded by crazy people. But other than that, as far as evidence of dead people coming back to speak to us, this series is a journey. And it's a journey for not so much me, but for the other people that are involved, because they are having their first connection to the other side. And I'm very excited that the first episode we did get some activity on camera, and this is just foreplay. This is just a preview of what's to come for you, baby. Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Anyway, no, this is just a preview of what's to come, and I'm really excited about the future because I have a feeling we have even more amazing things that we're going to catch on camera.
I yet to see a ghost, but oh dear God, we have actual footage now. This is the top-notch crew I put together for this show.
Put the noose around the neck, throw him over the side.
Check it out. Every bit of footage on the bridge goes haywire.